So, we are at it again. Some will say this is actually my long lost brother from the States. But yeah, Bruce Electronics World or Bruce Scott's World of Electronics or what he's calling himself different kind of fucking things. Kinda got me wanting to see this video. So I'm like, why not react to it? It's only 7 minutes long. Or 7 minutes and 20 seconds long. And it's a rant, don't be the Rtfm, read the fucking manual guy. And I kind of agree with that. Don't be that guy. There are instances, I will say this right up front. If you have tried to help people and they still don't get with the program, okay? If you are giving them the manual, you are giving them the sentence for the manual, you're giving them the tools, and you're showing them how to do it, and they still don't have the capacity to understand it, that's kind of like the only way to get them to understand that they need to amp up their skills. There are caveats with everything, but let's see what is this? The Linux cast, there you go, is ranting about with the don't be the Rtfm guy. And again, in general, I would say don't be that person. But let's see what this rant is about. I'm a little bit anxious because he will probably yell at me, and I don't like being yelled at.
There's this idea outside of the Linux community that Linux is hard. And there's this idea inside the Linux community that those people who think Linux is hard, those people are stupid or lazy or some combination thereof.
Yeah. I will say this. I have noticed that the last 6-7 years, they're not saying Linux is hard anymore. They are just saying Linux is different. You know, it's just not what they don't want to use. You know, you can't get the software I want and all of these kind of fucking things. There is, however, a really big part of the Linux community that is like, either you run Linux or you don't, and if you don't run Linux, you're an unintelligent, stupid little motherfucker that are bending over and letting Bill Gates have his way with your little boy toy behind. Yeah.
There's this contempt inside the Linux community for people outside of it, and that thing is...
I can see himself in his classes right here. I can see a reflection of his screen with himself talking in his classes. Now my brain can't stop focusing on that fucking shit.
That's not really ever going to go away. We're, as a Linux community, we're always going to look down, at least some of us, on the Windows users of the world.
Yeah, that... No. I will stop you right there, but... No, don't. No. You cannot justify that. You should not look down on anyone for their fucking choice of software or operating system. It's not important. You can disagree with them. You can have ideology, philosophical, political concerns. That's okay. But it's kind of like, okay, I'm looking down on you for driving a Ford. I'm looking down on you for living in South Africa. Or I'm looking down on you for living in Australia. I'm looking down on you for liking Wendy's versus McDonald's. You don't judge or look down on people for their choice of something this fucking unimportant. It's not justifiable. And it should be something that we should actually do something to mitigate. We should do something to get out of this. Like, again, disagreeing, fine. Don't like it, fine. But look down on them. Because when you're looking down on someone, you are now a superior person. You feel that you are superior than they are. I don't like that. That's not a good fucking way of being a human. Like, we should be better than that. We should never think that we are superior or better than anyone else. Never. Never. Because he's not better than me. I'm not better than him. He's not better than fucking Bill Gates. I'm not better than Bill Gates. And Bill Gates is not better than us. He just has more money. Okay? We are all humans. We just have fundamental disagreements with a lot of fucking shit. That is okay. I don't like that mentality. It's a really narrow-minded, it's a really uncompassionate-minded way of coming from. And here's the thing, Windows users don't look down on Linux users. Mac users don't look down on Linux users. I don't even think FreeBSD users look down on Linux users. Linux users are the only ones having a superior complex. That they think that they are better than everyone else. And we have to get out of that mindset.
It's just kind of our nature.
No, it's our nature. Don't. It's not in our nature to look down on other people and think we are superior. It's not.
Is what I'm trying to say. But there is some empathy to be had
Mm-hmm.
about how hard Linux actually can be. Because when you kind of are trying to determine whether Linux is hard or not, it really all matters on your perspective. If you
1000% agreeing with him here. This is how he should have started with. Disregard the first part and said, hey, you know what? It's all about who you are, what you are, how you're using hardware and stuff like that. Determines kind of your success rate or whatever it is with Linux, how easy it will be for you and stuff like that. High five, man. Yes, this is superior and it's just how it is, and don't make excuses for being a bad person. I hate that.
You've been using Linux for decades. Linux isn't hard. It doesn't matter whether you've ever used it or not. You can easily use Linux for the first time and be perfectly happy, because while it is different than Windows for sure, it's still an operating system that has certain things in common with every other operating system. It has a file system. Maybe it doesn't work the same, but it has a file system. That's not the same. I'm sorry. What he should have said here is that we have a graphical user interface, KDE for example, that looks a lot like Windows. Therefore, you could draw the conclusion that they kind of work to some extent the same way. Having a file system is not the same as having a file, because having a file system under Windows and having a file system under Linux is not the same, because they function differently. Their hierarchy is different. That's what the user sees, so they see a difference there. But there is a lot of other places where the difference between Windows and Linux, depending again on what you're doing, is really, really narrow. Again, take KDE versus Windows 11. I will gladly say that I guess most people that are using Windows 10 or 11 or 7 today, if they sat down with a stock standard KDE desktop, they would not have that big of a problem navigating it. It would take them maybe like a couple of minutes to get their feelings around. But navigating the Linux file system versus navigating the Windows file system, we're talking a little bit more problem here. I get what he's trying to say, he's just using a bad example. We have file managers, we have browsers, we have applications, we have app stores. Those things are all very much things that you would find on other operating systems that aren't Linux. You know what I mean? But if you're fairly new to computers, or if you are the type of person who just uses your computer to browse through Chrome, Linux could be very hard for you, because
I'm confused here. If you are a new computer user, or you just use your operating system or your computer to browse through Chrome, would that not be the same? Because then you just open your computer and open Chrome, and then Chrome is Chrome no matter where you use it. So you will have the same experience when you start up Chrome. That will, in my thought, I would say that will make Linux easier, because the only thing you need is to boot on your computer, log in, double click on the Google Chrome icon, and then everything is like it always has been.
You probably don't know anything about your Windows computer. Windows is hard for you.
Oh, okay, sorry. I get what he's trying to say here. He's trying to say that if you're only using your computer for browsing the internet, your knowledge about your computer and your operating system and what goes into it beside of Chrome may be limited. Okay, I get what he's trying to say here. Yeah.
You aren't a nerd or a technologically advanced person. You're
inclined, advanced, yeah, but yeah, I kind of... This is a personal pet peeve of mine. I use the words myself, but I kind of want us to get a little bit away from the newbie, normie kind of thing, because we all normies, we all newbies. It's just depend on what situation we are in. I rather like that we are talking about using terms like he says here, like technical, advanced, inclined, or computer savvy and stuff like that, versus not being a computer savvy. I just feel it sounds a little bit better, sounds a little bit less condescending and stuff like that, but I do use the normies and noobs myself quite a lot.
You're normal. You know what I mean? You don't know how a computer works. You don't know why one file manager... You don't know that there are multiple file managers. You don't know that there are multiple browsers. You've just used whatever is on your computer ever since you got it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the way the vast majority of people use their computers. Yeah. But when that person comes to Linux and finds out that there's more to the computing experience than just the browser, that's when Linux can become hard. Because for them, it is hard. They have to learn new things. And even if they try to use Linux in the same way they used Windows, where they just try to use the browser or whatever, there are going to be certain pitfalls along the way.
I can see where he's going with this. Yeah, I like what he's saying here. Again, disregard the first minute or so. He's starting to make sense now, yeah.
Installation, like the differences in file pickers. I know I'm always going back to the whole file manager thing. It's just, that's me.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Taking screenshots, things like managing the display resolution, things like managing audio. Those things are all quite different on Linux than they
I would say the audio aspect is probably the biggest one.
are on Windows. Whether or not they're better or worse, we can get in a fight.
Again, I hate this better and worse to some extent. I would just say it's different, and some people don't want different.
About that with those people on the outside. I personally think that a lot of those things are better on Linux. I know a lot of people think that they're worse on Linux, whatever
personal preference
the argument may be. But for average Joe Smo user, brand new user to Linux, those things can cause them to think Linux is hard. And I've talked about this before, but as a member of the Linux community, we need to have some empathy towards those people when they are coming to Linux for the first time, probably through something like this Steam Deck, and they don't...
Yeah, I don't... Yeah, some people will come to Linux from the Steam Deck, but I don't think the Steam Deck will have that big of an impact, to be honest. Linux have been used in mass consumer products for years, over a decade now, and it has not made more people aware or want to use Linux in the form that we think it would. I remember when Steam came to Linux for the first time, everyone was like, Windows is outdated now, everyone will be running Linux. No. I remember when AMD was starting to really support Linux, everyone would be running AMD and everyone would be running Linux because now a big vendor like AMD is supporting Linux and Windows is outdated. Never happened. No. We need the stuff that people want.
Don't know what they're doing. Telling them to read the fucking manual is not an appropriate response.
No.
I'm sorry, but it's not.
Again, caveat, if you try to help someone and they still don't get it, at some point they have to read the manual. Like, I've had situations where I have spent hours finding each and every fucking step that they have to take to do a task under Linux and they still didn't get it. I tried, and most of the times it's people that want to make a fucking distribution, okay? And at some point you have to kind of be a little bit of an asshole and say, you know what? The thing you want to do, you don't have the skill level to do it. So you need to learn that skill level. Like, it's kind of like taking someone out to the toilet, taking their pants down and holding their fucking wiener, and then like, the only thing you have to do now is pee. I can't do that for you. I don't know how to pee. I can't help you. I can't. There are sadly people like that out there. I probably should make a video about it at some point, but Estik has also a good story about that he could probably tell you about.
Like, you just really can't tell a brand new user to go read the fucking manual. I don't care how appropriate or how good the documentation is. It doesn't matter. If you are going to spend the time to respond to someone, like if someone asks a question and you are going to respond to them, and your response is going to take up enough time to say, read the fucking manual, you also have the same amount of time you could go to...
I've said the exact same fucking thing like a year ago or something like that, and multiple times. Like, the exact fucking words. That the time you spent typing in read the fucking manual, you could have been spending searching it on Google and posting in a link. For, read this, and then post a section of the manual into them. And you probably already know the answer to the question, so why not just post it in there? I've said the exact same thing on live streams and in videos. Is he a secret watcher of mine?
Do the manual, find the link that they need, and give it to them. Then they can read the manual. They don't have to search through the whole thing. They can just go to the one part that they need, and you've helped somebody for the day.
You can get a Starbucks and you can be happy. You don't have to be a good guy or girl anymore.
You haven't been an asshole, okay? So...
Hey, you spent 5 minutes being a good dude. There are plenty of minutes left in the day for you to be an asshole, okay? It's like, some people are just assholes.
So, I guess, at the end of the day, this video has kind of transformed into me saying, don't be the guy who says, read the fucking manual, okay? Mm-hmm. That's not okay anymore.
It has never been okay. I'm sad to say it, but it has never been okay. And I will go and turn this around a little bit. Most people in Linux know it has never been okay, but people don't say anything to the people that say read the fucking manual, and that's the problem. Most people in Linux know that that's not the proper response, but they are pussies and are not telling people that are saying read the fucking manual to actually like, hey, grow the fuck up and act like a fucking adult, you know. They are too pussy to do that. And again, that 25 years in this fucking Linux thing, that's what I have experienced, sadly enough.
I mean, if people ask stupid question over and over again, you know, on Discord, and it's clear that they're trolling, fine. But if new users' first experience with the Linux community is someone telling them the Rtfm, they're not ever going to ask another question, okay? They're just going to go try to read the manual. When they don't understand what's in the manual, they're going to go back to Windows. And maybe for some of you who say this...
I think Mario Linux have said these exact words before.
Kind of phrasing. That's okay for you. But if we want Linux to become at least a little bit more popular, we want it to change its reputation of being hard, then we have to be willing to help. And the vast majority of people are probably willing to help, but there are so many people out there who think that it's completely appropriate to tell someone just to go read the fucking manual.
And again, like I said, with the Linux users are just looking down, and we are, you know, we are looking down on Windows users and stuff like that. The only reason it's like that is because we have not done anything to it. And the same with read the fucking manual. That only exists because we have not stopped it. It's on us. We have not stopped it. All of the people, there are so many people out there that are spending hours in forums and on comment sections on videos and stuff like that to help other people out with their problems. There are plenty of good people in the Linux community, but they are pussies and they don't stand up for people when they need to. They don't stop read the fucking manual, people. They don't stop the condescending toxic elements in Linux. They don't stop them. They're just, oh, it's just how it is. No, it's not. We can easily fix this. Really easy. Make them accountable. Tell them, you know what? This is not how you do it. If you can't talk nicely, or if you can't help in a better way than say read the fucking manual, get out of here. Tell them to stop that. Post a link or shut your mouth. It's that fucking easy.
And it really isn't. Don't be that guy. So, that's it for this video. I know the perspective is a little weird, and, you know...
It's like we're sitting on his lap.
Wobbly Cam is probably not going to stick around for very much longer. This was supposed to be a short, but I've tried to record this video 8 times.
Oh, I know the feeling.
I come to realize there's no way I'm going to be getting this into a minute. And according to the timer thing there, I'm at 6 minutes, almost 7 minutes, and
yeah, I'll stop here. He's out of the main idea of the video is being set, or the point of the video. Again, there are some problems within Linux we have as a community, and they have been really, really highlighted a lot in media form over the years. And we always seem to either be content with it or blame someone else. And there's only one group of people that can fix this, and this is the community. If the community as a whole don't agree with read the fucking manual, don't accept that, that's when we start to fix it. When the community as a whole stop people that are judging, that are condescending, Stop them from being like that, stopping that behavior. That's the only time it's going to be stopped. No matter how many fucking code of conduct and all of that fucking shit, social contracts and all of that fucking bullshit that software makers are making and distribution makers are making, won't matter a fucking shit. Yeah, it will get the person banned, but then they're going to be toxic or condescending or judgmental in another place. It will just work within that project. But they will still being who they are other places. The only way we can really combat that is that if people are doing the read the fucking manual, say, oh, don't listen to that fucking idiot. Here is how you get your information. Make them look stupid. Make them look bad. If people are judgmental and condescending, make them look bad. Make it so it's not acceptable to be like that. That's the only way we can combat this. No amount of rules and guidance and all that fucking shit will help, because they will just find ways of circumvent it. They will just spell out read the fucking manual in a different way or something like that. The only way we can combat this if it's the community stand up and say, you know what? No. No. This is not good for us. That's when we can do something about it. So again, I will kind of like to hear your feedback on it. See you all later. Have fun. Bye bye.